The Philippine government has just announced that the military runway on Balabac Island, tucked away in Palawan, is almost finished. This island is a key piece in the puzzle of the Enhanced Defense Cooperation Agreement, EDCA, between the Philippines and the United States, a deal that was struck back in 2014 in response to China's growing presence in the West Philippine Sea. Under this agreement, the U.S. military gets access to several bases across the Philippines for joint exercises, disaster response, and humanitarian missions. At first, the agreement covered 5 strategic locations: Basa Airbase in Pampanga, Fort Magsaysay, Lumbia Airbase, Antonio Bautista Airbase, and Mactan Benito Ebuan Airbase. But things have expanded. Last year, the Philippine government added 4 more sites, including Balabac Island, Naval Base, Camilo Osias in Cagayan, Lalo Airport in Cagayan, and Camp Melchor F. de la Cruz in Isabela. The new 3-kilometer runway on Balabac Island is a key part of the government's Building Infrastructure for Peace and Security initiative, which has been in the works since 2017. This is more than just a construction project. It's a signal of the growing defense ties between the US and the Philippines as they work together to safeguard the region's security in the face of rising tensions. Balabac Island is now becoming a strategic cornerstone in that broader mission. What's fascinating about the new runway on Balabac Island is that it's not just for military use. It's designed to accommodate both military and civilian planes. This makes the project a major priority for the Marcos administration, which is focused on transforming the southern regions of the Philippines. The goal? To attract new investments, improve transportation, and give the tourism industry a much-needed boost. With the project now 90% complete, it's the result of a partnership between the Department of Public Works and Highways and the Department of National Defense, and it's set to have a lasting impact on the region. Balabac Island, located at the southernmost tip of Palawan, holds the title as the westernmost point of the Philippines, if we exclude the contested Spratly Islands. Situated near the Balabac Strait, just across from the island of Sabah, it's not just geographically significant, it's also strategically positioned. The island sits in close proximity to China's military outposts in the West Philippine Sea, making it a critical location in the broader security landscape of the region. But there's more to Balabac than just its strategic value. It's also the westernmost undisputed island in the country, with its shores touching the West Philippine Sea, a part of the South China Sea, which has long been a flashpoint for territorial disputes between the Philippines and China. Only 140 nautical miles away lies Mischief Reef, a spot China took control of back in 1995, transforming it into one of their largest artificial islands, right within the Philippines' exclusive economic zone. The runway on Balabac Island is more than just infrastructure. It's a symbol of the growing importance of this region in the face of rising tensions. Balabac Island is more than just a dot on the map. It's a key player in the Philippine Navy's strategy, home to one of the country's most critical naval stations. And with the ongoing strengthening of US-Philippine military ties, Balabac is poised to become an even more important hub for US operations under the Enhanced Defense Cooperation Agreement, EDCA. But Balabac isn't the only place seeing major developments. Over at Basa Airbase in central Luzon, another big upgrade is in the works. The U.S. Department of Defense has just awarded a $32 million contract to redevelop Basa Airbase as part of a broader initiative to enhance the military capabilities of both the United States and the Philippines. This isn't just a routine upgrade, it's part of the Pacific Deterrence Initiative, a strategic effort to push back against China's expanding influence in the Indo-Pacific region. The goal is clear: build a stronger, more resilient military infrastructure to ensure the US and the Philippines can operate seamlessly together in the face of growing tensions. One of the key improvements coming to Basa Airbase is a massive 625,000 square foot parking apron, which will be able to accommodate up to 20 aircraft. This upgrade is designed to bolster the base's ability to host joint exercises and ensure that both forces are ready for any challenges that might arise. With these developments, both Balabac and Basa are shaping up to be crucial assets in the Philippines and the US's shared mission of peace, security, and stability in the Indo-Pacific region. Acciona CMS Philippines LLC has emerged victorious, winning the bid to build a new parking apron, shoulders, and taxiway at Basa Airbase. This base, long known as home to the country's fighter squadrons, is now at the center of several important projects tied to the Enhanced Defense Cooperation Agreement, Edca. Signed back in 2014, the Edca grants the U.S. military access to Philippine bases for rotating troop deployments and the construction of vital facilities, with final approval resting with Manila. While the construction at Basa is a key part of Edca, the funding comes from a different source: the Pentagon's Pacific Deterrence Initiative, PDI. With China emerging as the primary security concern in the Indo-Pacific, the PDI is all about strengthening U.S. military presence and readiness in the region. The goal: to ramp up deterrence efforts by investing in vital infrastructure, advanced technologies, and deepening strategic alliances. And to make that happen, for the fiscal year 2024, the Pentagon is requesting a whopping $9.1 billion to fuel these efforts. Basa Airbase's overhaul is just one example of how these initiatives are taking shape, helping to fortify the military capabilities of both the Philippines and the U.S. in the face of rising regional tensions. The ongoing developments signal a deeper commitment to security and stability in the Indo-Pacific, with both nations gearing up for whatever challenges may come their way. When it comes to Basa Airbase, the U.S. Air Force has made it clear: investing in upgrades here is crucial for advancing the training and modernization of the Philippine military. However, there's a glaring gap in the current Philippine Air Force modernization efforts. There simply isn't enough parking space for U.S. aircraft. While the original Edca deal covered 5 military bases, it was expanded in 2023 to include 9 locations. Since 2014, a hefty $82 million has been funneled into Edca projects, and a large chunk of that, $66 million, has gone directly to Basa. These funds have helped fund a range of improvements, from building a humanitarian assistance warehouse and renovating the runway, to constructing new command facilities. One of the most notable additions is the deployment of unarmed MQ-9A Reaper drones by the Marine Corps, which are now stationed at Basa for surveillance and reconnaissance missions. These drones have played a pivotal role in boosting intelligence sharing between U.S. and Philippine forces. While we don't know exactly how many drones have been deployed, open-source images reveal that transport containers for the drones can be seen behind the Air Defense Alert Command hangars. This subtle but telling detail lines up with recent announcements from top U.S. officials about an additional $128 million in Edca funding. This boost is part of a larger strategy that also includes a historic $500 million foreign military financing package to modernize the Philippine military and Coast Guard. This news came out during last month's 2+2 ministerial dialogue in Manila, and the funds will go toward projects at 7 out of the 9 Edca sites. It's clear that the U.S. is ramping up its commitment to strengthening military ties with the Philippines, pouring in resources to ensure both nations are ready for the challenges ahead in the region. Both the Philippines and the U.S. have hailed the Enhanced Defense Cooperation Agreement, Edca, as a game-changer for the modernization of the Philippine military, with new infrastructure and expanded joint training exercises topping the list of priorities. The need for these upgrades has only grown more urgent as tensions with China continue to rise, especially over disputed territories in the South China Sea. The focus has been particularly sharp around the second Thomas Shoal, where the Philippine Marine Garrison is stationed, and efforts to resupply them are regularly met with challenges. Basa Airbase, a facility built just before World War II, and having served both U.S. and Imperial Japanese forces over the years, now houses the Philippines' only fighter squadron. This squadron, equipped with 12 FA-50 PH Fighting Eagles, Korean-made jets, is the backbone of the country's limited air defense capabilities. These fighters conduct annual training exercises with U.S. forces, and 2023 marked a significant milestone. The FA-50PHs trained alongside the U.S. Air Force's advanced F-22 Raptors. This was a historic moment, as it marked the first time a fifth-generation U.S. fighter jet had landed in the Philippines. As the Philippines pushes ahead with its military modernization, all eyes are on the Philippine Air Force as it prepares to select a new jet for its multi-role fighter program. The future of the country's air defense is beginning to take shape, and the global spotlight is on this crucial next step. The military upgrades, driven by both necessity and strategic vision, are shaping a new era for the Philippines, one that is better prepared for the challenges that lie ahead. The Philippine government seems to be leaning toward the Swedish-made JAS-39 Gripen for its next fighter jet, but many officials still see the American F-16 Fighting Falcon as a strong contender. No matter which aircraft the Philippines ultimately chooses, it's almost certain that these advanced jets will be stationed at Basa Airbase and other key Edca sites across the country. At the same time, the U.S. Navy is making a big push to strengthen its position in the Indo-Pacific by deploying a new, cutting-edge air-to-air missile that could seriously tip the balance in the U.S. military's favor, reducing China's aerial advantage. Enter the AIM-174B, a game-changing missile with an impressive range of 400 kilometers. For perspective, China's PL-15 missile has a range of just 250 kilometers, meaning U.S. jets armed with the AIM-174B can hit critical Chinese targets, like command and control planes, while staying far out of reach of China's air defense systems. This not only increases the effectiveness of U.S. air operations, but also keeps both pilots and aircraft carriers much safer. Currently stationed in Australia, this next-gen missile could very well make its way to the Philippines once the upgrades to Basa Airbase are finished. But the Philippines isn't just relying on its allies to beef up its defense. As tensions continue to rise in the region, the country is taking matters into its own hands. One major move is the development of a new airport on Basa Island, also known as Thitu Island, which lies within the contested Spratly Islands. This development is a clear sign of the Philippines strengthening its position in the West Philippine Sea, sending a message that it's ready to protect its territorial claims and assert its presence amid growing regional tensions. Just last week, the Philippine President's Communications Office confirmed that land procurement for the runway extension on Basa Island is officially underway. When completed, the expansion will significantly improve travel to and from the island, not just for the civilians who live there, but also for the military personnel stationed on the island. With the upgraded runway, larger military aircraft will be able to land, further bolstering the Philippines' strategic presence in these contested waters. This move sends a strong message about Manila's resolve to defend its claims, even as China continues to assert its expansive territorial ambitions in the region, despite the 2016 arbitral ruling that rejected those claims. As the Philippines steps up its presence in the West Philippine Sea, sending more vessels into these disputed waters, tensions with Beijing are bound to rise. But one thing is crystal clear: Manila isn't backing down anytime soon. This runway extension is more than just infrastructure. It's a statement of intent in the face of growing pressure from China. A key military runway on Balabac Island in Palawan province, just a stone's throw from the South China Sea, is almost complete. This island is one of the 4 new locations granted to the U.S. military as part of an expanded defense agreement forged last year. These infrastructure projects aren't just about military strength. They're central to the Marcos administration's broader vision for transforming the region south of Manila. The focus is on driving investments, improving transportation, and boosting tourism, all of which are expected to reshape the future of the area. But the Philippines isn't stopping there. In a bold move to solidify its presence in these disputed waters, the country has ramped up its efforts on Basa Island, internationally known as Thitu Island. The construction of an airport on Basa is set to make travel to and from this remote outpost much more efficient. This will not only streamline supply routes, but could open the door to new opportunities for tourism and economic growth in the region. However, this development is bound to heighten tensions with China. Basa Island, located roughly 285 nautical miles off Palawan, is a crucial piece in the South China Sea puzzle. Despite China's territorial claims, the Philippines has long maintained both a military and civilian presence on the island. Around 200 Filipinos currently live there, and in 1978, the government even established a municipality under Palawan province, further strengthening its claim. As the Philippines continues to develop its strategic holdings in these contested waters, it's clear that Manila is not backing down, setting the stage for even more friction with Beijing. Thitu Island, the largest of the Spratly Islands controlled by the Philippines, plays a crucial role in the country's territorial defense strategy. Alongside Thitu, the Philippines also occupies 8 other features in the South China Sea, including the strategically critical Second Thomas Shoal, locally called Ayungin. These islands and reefs lie within the country's exclusive economic zone, EEZ, which only adds to the complexity of its ongoing territorial dispute with China. Meanwhile, just a short distance away on Balabac Island, the Philippine Congress has set aside 800 million pesos to develop a new fishing port aimed at encouraging civilian settlements. Balabac Island, measuring 7.3 hectares and located just 98 miles east of Basa, is becoming a key player in the Philippines' broader strategy to bolster its presence in the West Philippine Sea. This port project is in addition to the 1.5 billion pesos allocated to expand the airport on Thitu Island, further solidifying the Philippines' footprint in the region. As tensions with China continue to rise, it's clear that the Philippines is ramping up efforts to assert its sovereignty, not just through military means, but also through civilian initiatives. The government is focused on securing its claims and strengthening its position in these contested waters. On a broader scale, the Philippine government is retooling its defense strategies, particularly along the western and northern edges of the archipelago, as China's aggressive actions in the country's exclusive economic zone continue. With Chinese incursions increasing, the Philippines is turning more toward strengthening defense partnerships with external allies. This shift aligns with the military's adoption of the comprehensive archipelago defense concept, a critical strategy as maritime security threats intensify in the West Philippine Sea and the waters near Taiwan. The Philippines is preparing for the long haul, solidifying its defense posture and expanding its alliances to meet the growing challenges in the region. As part of its growing defense strategy, the Philippines is launching new infrastructure projects aimed at strengthening its military operations and fortifying its defense network. The urgency of these efforts has never been clearer, especially as Chinese incursions into Philippine waters show no sign of easing. A recent incident on August 25th vividly highlights the rising tensions. At around 2:11 p.m., a Chinese Coast Guard vessel, CCG 21551, aggressively rammed the Philippine vessel BRP Datu Sanda near Skoda Shoal, just 10 nautical miles from the contested waters of the West Philippine Sea. The Chinese vessel struck the Datu Sanda multiple times before launching a blatant water cannon attack, aimed at disabling the ship's navigational equipment. This unprovoked assault is not just a provocation, it's a direct challenge to Philippine sovereignty. The attack was clearly intended to stop a critical humanitarian mission. The Datu Sanda was on its way to deliver essential supplies like diesel, food, and medical aid to Filipino fishermen in the area. This brazen act underscores the stakes in the ongoing territorial dispute and highlights the growing risks to Philippine operations in the region. as the Philippines steps up its military and civilian efforts to assert its sovereignty. The tension with China continues to escalate, making the country's defense strategy more critical than ever. The situation took a dangerous turn when multiple vessels from China's People's Liberation Army Navy, Plan, and China Coast Guard surrounded and blocked the Philippine ship. The aggressive tactics included constant horn blasts, ramming attempts, and unrelenting water cannon attacks. These reckless actions caused engine failure on the Philippine vessel, forcing it to cut the humanitarian mission short. This outright hostility put the lives of the Filipino crew and the fishermen they were trying to help in grave danger. Yet, despite the escalating threat, the Philippines remains determined to defend its waters and protect its people, standing firm in the face of China's increasingly hostile actions. Incredibly, despite the dangerous maneuvers, the crew aboard the BFAR vessel emerged unscathed, safe, and unharmed. However, China's state-run media wasted no time spreading false claims, alleging that Filipino personnel had fallen overboard and were heroically rescued by the Chinese Coast Guard. These unfounded accusations are a clear example of how China distorts the truth to manipulate public perception in its favor. The incident unfolded near Half Moon Shoal, just 60 nautical miles from Palawan, while Sabina Shoal, another hotspot, lies about 110 nautical miles away. Both of these areas are well within the Philippines' exclusive economic zone. Despite international law, China's aggressive actions continue unchecked, further destabilizing peace and security in the region. This ongoing defiance sends a chilling message about China's intent to assert control over disputed waters, while the Philippines stands resolute in defending its sovereignty. The Philippine government is standing its ground, making it crystal clear that China's aggressive actions must come to an end. Manila has called on Beijing to halt these destabilizing maneuvers and respect the Philippines' rights, which are firmly backed by international law. This includes the United Nations Convention on the Law of the Sea, UNCLOS, and the 2016 Arbitral Award, which decisively rejected China's broad territorial claims over the South China Sea. Thanks for watching. If you liked this video, make sure to hit the like button and subscribe so you don't miss out on more great content. See you next time.